This time I'm going to talk about the shelving I used. But first I need to finish naming the rest of the systems. The CDI, the NES, Atari XEGS, TurboGrafx with the Turbo CD attached, Neo Geo, ColecoVision, Atari 7800, Odyssey 2, Atari Jaguar plus Jaguar CD, Dreamcast, the Action Max, Fairchild Channel F, Intellivision, 3DO, Saturn, Neo Geo CD, Super Nintendo, the original PlayStation, Genesis with Sega CD attached, N64, GameWave, Bally Astrocade, Atari 2600, and the Atari 5200. I have other game systems in this house as well, including many handhelds. And I also have a console graveyard, boxes of mostly broken systems that I use for parts. Repair work comes with the hobby. Anytime you have this many old electronic items, something is going to break at some point. Soldering tools and internet research skills are a must. When my Sega CD failed to come on, I replaced the fuse. When the Atari I bought at a flea market didn't work, I cleaned dead roaches out of it. At least it wasn't fleas. I replaced capacitors and game gears, replaced the RAM in the Atari XEGS, and got the Turbo CD to start spinning again. I haven't always been victorious though. Two systems I have right now are on the fritz, and I've been unable to save them, the Intellivision and the Action Max. They're gonna get replaced and sent to the graveyard. Now onto the shelving. Other than the TV stand in the middle, everything here is sitting on a common type of shelving. Usually it's called chrome wire shelving, but it goes by other names too. They're often sold in kits containing 5 shelves, commonly called 5-tier chrome wire shelving. You can also purchase all the different parts separately. They are intended to be for home storage, like food pantries, but I think they work well for system setups. They are very sturdy and adjustable, allowing you to put the individual shelves at different heights. You can also interconnect multiple shelves into one super long shelf, even though neither the manual or the box mention you can do it this way. It was very complicated to get the shelves configured the way they are today. I had to draw several diagrams. The bottom line is that with these shelves, you could potentially place them on all 4 sides of the TV, which is helpful when you want to cram in a lot of equipment. Another benefit is that it's easy to tie wires to these shelves. Each shelf is held up by these little plastic couplers. I've spaced the shelves about a foot apart, which is room enough to pop in a cartridge. The bottom shelves here and here have no couplers, they're just sitting on the floor. If you plan on making your own setup with these types of shelves, I have some pointers. They are sold in a lot of different sizes. It's very important to purchase ones that are large enough. The most important dimension is depth. Mine are 18 inches deep, which is enough room for the consoles, the controllers, and the switch boxes. Also make sure they are all created by the same company. Don't go into one store and buy a set, and then go to another store to buy extra pieces. There are many companies that make these, but they tend to have slight differences in the design that may not be apparent until you merge them together. I bought a couple of kits from Target, then years later when I decided to expand the setup, I could not find them at Target anymore, so I bought some from Lowe's. As a result, there's a few of these bars in the setup that are higher than the others. They also have black wire shelving available, but it's not a color I recommend because it shows dust much easier, and they would blend in too much with the black game systems. The prices on these shelves vary a lot, so be sure to shop around. I've seen 5-tier sets priced around $50 in some department stores, but I've seen the same ones online selling for hundreds of dollars. You can also put wheels on these shelves in case you want to roll it around. The biggest drawback to these shelves are the gaps between the wires. It creates an uneven surface and small things can fall through. These problems are solved by adding shelf liners. I have 2 layers using 2 different types of liners. One is a hard plastic that they sell specifically for these types of shelves. It provides a solid surface, but it's also very slippery, causing the systems and controllers to slide around. So the top layer is a rubber-like liner, the kind they sell in the grocery stores for cabinets and drawers. It keeps things from sliding around so much. Even though I've only been talking about wire shelving, don't think it's the only option out there for video game setups. Walk into some of the large home improvement stores and you'll see tons of options. Some of them use particle board for the shelf, so there's no need to buy liners. As I mentioned, just make sure that the shelves go deep enough. The last thing I want to mention about the shelving is the stand underneath the CRT. It was made in the 1990s and is meant to go in the corner of a room. That's why it's shaped like a wedge. There were glass doors on it, but I removed them to keep everything as accessible as possible. I also added a third shelf using a thin piece of wood. That's all for the shelving. I'm going to have many more videos explaining the different aspects of this setup, so stay tuned.